So now let's talk about the 401k alternative, the tax-free life insurance retirement alternative. The editor of Time magazine was being interviewed on MSNBC Morning Joe, and he was exposing all the problems associated with 401ks and qualified plans. They finally asked him, if we shouldn't be putting money into a 401k, where should we put it? His response was to put your money into an insurance plan that guaranteed a pension. This plan not only guarantees you a lifetime pension, but it can provide you with tax-free income that will last until the day that you die and guarantee that you will never lose another penny when the market crashes again. After people started becoming educated on this 401k alternative, they figured, I should have it run by my CPA. The problem is that most CPAs know nothing about this program. But as you can see here, according to the Federal Reserve in the Wall Street Journal article from October of 2010, 22% of the money invested in this plan is owned by the top 1%. These are the billionaires, for your information. Remember, those 1%ers are billionaires, and 55% of all of the assets in this program are owned by the top 10%. Those are millionaires and multimillionaires. So why do I mention this? Let me ask you a question. Do you seriously think that a billionaire or millionaire ever invested any money into a program before talking to the smartest, brightest, highest paid advisors that money can buy before putting any money into this program? Of course not. So if you were to go to your CPA and your CPA said, no, I don't think you should do this, it's simply because they have no idea what the program is. They're not going to tell you that they have no idea what it is because they don't want to look uninformed. They'll just say, I don't think you should do this. So why is this program so great? Well, because you're getting tax-free retirement savings and a small tax-free death benefit if you were to pass away prematurely. It is all rolled into one simple plan. See, unlike your 401k, you can take tax-free retirement income at any time without having a mandatory repayment. And you can take income now while you're working to pay for your child's college, pay off a car loan, or you can take income when you retire. And don't forget that you also get a tax-free death benefit to protect your family against premature death. And you get all of this for the same amount of money you would be putting into your 401k or a qualified plan without all these benefits. Remember when I told you that the 401k came into being in the mid-1980s? Well, in the 1980s, Congress also passed three congressional acts called TEFRA, DEFRA, and TAMRA. These three congressional acts are the bones upon which this tax-free program was constructed. It's also tax-free under Internal Revenue Codes 7702 and 72E. So why haven't you heard of it before? Again, because between 1984 and 2000, the market was going up year after year, and anybody that was in the market was making a ton of money, and they simply had no interest in exploring anything else. Everyone forgot about the fact that the market would eventually crash. Now it's time to take a look at some of the superior attributes of this tax-free program provides. So let me explain how and why this program will never lose any money from a market crash. If the market goes up 10 or 20 or 30% or even 40%, this program has a cap that would only allow you to capture up about 15% of the market. Most people will say, well, hey, I want to capture all of the gains. But by having the ability to capture all of the gains, the qualified plan exposes your savings account to 100% of all of the market losses. See, by limiting the upside gain, you're guaranteed a zero loss when the market crashes. But you'll match whatever the market does between the floor of zero and whatever the upside cap is, 15% in this example. This slide will help you understand the way that Wall Street can legally confuse the average investor by simply using the average return. The average return is mathematically correct, but it's a total misrepresentation of the truth. Let me explain this by helping you understand the difference between the actual and the average. If you started out with number one with $100,000 and 100,000 went up by 100%. You would then have 200,000. Pretty simple. At the end, or at the beginning of year two, you would have 200,000. And if the market suffered a 50% loss, then you would go back to 100,000, as we can see here. So you really would have absolutely no gain whatsoever. Now let's look at the way Wall Street averages this out. If the market went up 100% in 1 year and then dropped negative 50% the next year, if you subtract the 50% loss from 100%, that's a net positive gain of 50%. Since this was all for a 2-year time period, you would divide the 50% net gain divided by the 2 years, and your mathematical average would show an average gain of 25%. As you can see, that simply just isn't true. There was no gain. You started out with 100,000 and you're back at 100,000. Your actual rate of return was 0. And that is how Wall Street can legally confuse the average investor. This graph represents the actual compound annual growth rate over the past 15 years, even with the dramatic increase that Wall Street made in some of the years' losses of 2000 and 2007, produced an overall compound annual growth rate of just under 3%. A tax-free plan had a compound annual growth rate of 6.9%. Both of these examples do not include any fees or dividends. This is just a graphical representation to help you see a huge disparity in that's created when you do not suffer any market losses. So there's your floor. There's your cap. Now let's talk about the benefits of the tax-free plan. Already discussed, there are no market losses, but in addition to that tax-free plan that has 30 to 50% lower management fees, it provides tax-free income until the day that you die, and it has flexible contributions. So in this example, in the tax-free plan is 53% less in fees over this person's lifetime. We have verified this mathematically. It also provides tax-free income, as we keep mentioning. And here we show the 20% tax bracket this person is in. To pull out $57,000 in 1 year, they would have to pull out $71,000 from their qualified plan, as opposed to the 401k alternative to pull out $57,000. That's actually what you would get. Then there's a lifetime income option. Again, we verify and validate this mathematically. Under the alternate plan, the qualified plan, because of taxes and because of exposure to market losses, you end up running out of money at the age of 76. In this plan, you end up running out of money at the age of 110. Finally, you do have flexible contributions. Remember, when you put money into this retirement vehicle, the largest portion is your tax-free savings, which is what you can see here. And the very smallest portion over here is the benefit that would go to your heirs when you eventually pass away. So the majority of the money will be yours will be in retirement and in for the future.